Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. And I just came back from watching the anticipated Until Dawn movie. And right off the bat, for everyone or anyone who expected for the Until Dawn movie to be like the Until Dawn video game, don't expect it to be similar at all. But that doesn't mean that the movie is bad and you should not go watch it. You're gonna have to find out in the video to see if I truly think the movie is worthwhile, especially if you're a fan of the video game and if you're a fan of psychological drama, psychological horror, and supernatural stuff. So, right off the start, they had the option, the Until Dawn movie, to go with by just going with what the video game started. Meaning you can just go copy the video game's plot, the characters, and even take back the same actors. And they decided not to. You know why? I'm not sure why. If I was a director and I wanted to create a very good movie that is compelling and that it speaks to the fans of the game, because this is where the Until Dawn movie comes from. It's from the video game, specifically because they use the same name, they use the same actor for the psychiatrist, they talk about Wendigos. So I'm not sure why they didn't go with the same plot, especially knowing that the Until Dawn video game offers you so many paths to branch out. You can either kill everyone, kill no one, have Josh Washington die, become a Wendigo. There's just so many options you can take, but they decided to go with their own plot. So I wasn't the biggest fan of that. You can't just piggyback on the name and the glamour of the Until Dawn video game and make your own movie. That doesn't sit well with me, because you're just luring on those innocent people like me who loved the video game into your movie theater, and then you just give them a brand new product. So already right off the bat, you're already losing 2 points out of 10 because you're not respecting what the video game is about and what the Until Dawn spirit is about. But that doesn't mean that they didn't do good things or everything is bad. It just means now that the max score the movie can get, according to your boy, Bingo Words, Rotten Tomatoes, Bingo Words, IMDb, Popcorn Score, Bingo Words, is max an 8 out of 10. So, what was good about the movie? So, let's start with the positives, because, we have to be honest here. So, what was good about the movie is that they tried to recreate the dynamic they had with the real characters in the Until Dawn video game. So, the Until Dawn movie had 5 characters. They had 3 girls and 2 guys. Okay. What was good about it is that some of the guys were acting like the guys in the video game. So meaning there was someone who was more like Matt, and there was one who was more like Mike. The guy who was more like Mike was more witty, was more the sporty one, the more courageous one, but is also the dumber one, which didn't really make sense because Mike ended up not being dumb in the video game, and he ended up being the most courageous and smart one out of the whole bunch. Secondly, the guy who plays Matt, he's the guy he's the ex-boyfriend of the girl who lost her sister, and it's like, and he tries to act all lovey-dovey, more soft, more cute, and I'm courageous, I'm the white knight who's gonna save the girl in the movie. So it was a bit weird, so I didn't really like that, but I liked that they tried. They at least kept some of the original spirit of the characters, by meaning that, there's a different variety of personalities in there. The other good thing was that the main plot of the movie is based upon the fact that the main character in the movie, her name is Glover, lost her sister, and her sister died. So, like in the video game, Josh Washington lost both of his sisters. So we can see here that they are aware of the plot of the Until Dawn video game, but they decided to go with their own idea. Well, they could have at least, while keeping the spirit of the story, which is, a close family member died. So I found that cool, but at the same time, Why don't you just fucking do the same thing? Why do you have to be special, creative, or cool? That's not what the point of the movie is. If that's what the movie was supposed to be, then just change the name of the movie and the plot of it and the logo and everything. But you know, it is what it is. The other good thing about the movie is that they included Wendigos, which was very cool because it's a big throwback, especially for me who loved the video game and my partner who loved the video game. It was a very nice shout out. So the including of the Wendigos was very good. However, they're doing the same thing again that they did with the characters. They have the spirit of the idea, but they just choose to go their own way for some reason. So the Wendigos in the video game, we know they're based upon the miners who died in that mountain, and then they're starting to eat, to become cannibals and eat the body of the other humans in that mountain. And then what happens is that the person who becomes a cannibal, eventually becomes a Wendigo, and they go through this transformation, or their back becomes more crooked, they have some rigged skin, and they become fast, stronger, and they strive for blood. You know, so they go this werewolf like transformation. And in the movie it is the same thing, which was good. However, it is not the same way that they become Wendigos. In the movie, they become Wendigos because they lose too many lives in the plot of the movie. So to not reveal too much, the plot of the movie is the 5 characters go into a house it was the point of the road trip that they had was to honor and the death of this main character's sister. But then they go into that house and they quickly realize that, hey, this house is more than what it seems. And the first night they just die, and they realize that they have to stay alive until dawn in order to survive and get out of this mess that they are in. And there is an evil guy who's Dr. Hill as well, who's played by the same character, which is cool. And there's also an evil guy who mimics the beginning evil guy we've seen until dawn, who dresses up, who's Josh, but who dresses up as a clown, who murders people. And he eventually murders them in the first night, and he's also an accessory with the Wendigos to just try to kill them. So they realize that when they die, they have another chance to survive until dawn, and they have another chance every single time when they die. However, they realize that after around 13 nights is the maximum amount of lives they get until they become Wendigos. So people who were Wendigos in that house and in that environment were people who were already in that house, and they didn't survive below the 13 nights, and they were not able to escape, so they were stuck there. So it was not the same thing, but I know the how they become Wendigos was original, but it was a bit cringe at the same time. I mean, anyone can think about this. There's something different when a Wendigo is something more spiritual, when it's someone that cannibalizes another human body, because that's the only thing they're able to do. And that moment, there's no food, no drink. They're scared. They're stuck. It's cold. So like, you know, I'm going to eat this. And then they eventually become Wendigos. And what's so crazy about it is that there's an asylum there, and people study them. The Wendigos are like, oh my gosh, this could be revolutionary. Look at this transformation we just found. But in the movie, it's more, the Wendigos are more of an accessory to killing the people in that house who have to survive until dawn. And eventually we see that what was nice about the movie is that the main character's sister becomes a Wendigo and attacks her. However, what was bad is that unlike the video game, when Beth becomes a Wendigo, here the sister becomes a Wendigo, and they clash, or the siblings clash between each other. In the video game, they're like, oh shit, I retained some of my human characteristics. Not much, but I retained some. So she's like, oh, this is Josh, I should probably not attack that dude. So we see that it's deeper, but in the movie there's none of this. So the Wendigo sister jumps at the human sister, attacks her, and the human sister eventually just brushes her off, and she falls on a spike, and the Wendigo dies. Compared to the video game, when a Wendigo, they're like, oh, if we shoot at it, it doesn't die. If we hit it, it doesn't die. And the movie, it died very easily. And the video game, you're able to burn the Wendigos, and that's the only way that you can release their soul into the air and actually kill the beast that is the Wendigo. So we see that they went into a more creative route with it. I disagree, but there was some good and some bad to it, but mostly bad. The other cool thing is that they placed a lot of Easter eggs in the movie. So it was not shown, it was not told, but it was shown. So the main one being Dr. Hill, which was very, very cool that they brought back the same actor and he had the same lines. He was a psychiatrist who was studying the Wendigos and stuff like that. However, in the movie, he was more of an evil guy who was trapping them into this house and forcing people to confront their fears and confront him and to see and to make them become Wendigos. And we see that in the video game, it's the complete opposite. Dr. Hill is actually the psychiatrist and the therapist of the main character, Josh, who, as we know from my video, guys, that I encourage you to check, the case for Josh, he might not be the real the main evil from the video game. We see that Dr. Hill is actually trying to help Josh understand what he's going through. Maybe not in the best way, and he's maybe not the best doctor, but he's there and he's replaying the therapy sessions they had between each other. So he's actually trying to help him. In the movie, it's more like, I got you. I know you're scared. You're going through these depressive episodes. Your sister died. You have trauma. You have guilt and all of this. So look at this house. And all of this house is based upon your fear. The Wendigos are based upon your fear, and it's all in your head. So I'm just here to play games with you. So it was a bit more shallow compared to how it was made in the video game, but they brought it back, which was cool. Another artifact that they added from the video game into the movie is that there were clues everywhere. They had some videotapes, there are some documents, they had some posters that they had to read to understand what was happening. A bit like the video game, which if you did not go through the documents, if you did not go through the medical reports, if you did not take the right decision, if you did not take the right clues, then eventually you would put people in danger because you don't have all the information. And what was also cool, lastly, about the movie, was that there was a special mention that came close to heart for me because, again, it's a shout out where I made the case for Josh, and I did a psychological analysis on Josh Washington because a lot of people missed his medical report. A lot of people did not take the time to understand Josh, that he was actually not the evil in that mountain. It was not the Wendigos. It was actually the friend group, and I will debate you on it. Just go watch my video, and you will understand why I'm saying this. At the end of the movie, the main character talks to Dr. Hill, and Dr. Hill starts reading the medical report of the main character, depressive orders, medications, trauma, all that stuff. And at the end, at the end of their interaction, they show a little shot of a medical report of one of the former patients of Dr. Hill. And who is it? It is the one and only Josh Washington. So for me, I found that very, very, very cool that they put this. I had to stop and tell my partner, hey, look at this. They put the medical report. They knew about it. That's crazy. And I found that very cool because a lot of people missed the medical report to see that Josh actually had some head trauma and some internal traumas that needed to be dealt with. So that was cool about the movie. I would say the only cool things about the movie was that the things that resembled the video game, which doesn't say much about the movie. It says more about the spirit of Until Dawn and what the video game is about and what the plot is about. They use the same logo, they use the same team, and all of that. However, now with the cons in the movie. The cons of the movie is that, I'm going to start and I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to be straight with you. The acting sucked. It looked like it was filmed like a YouTube $100 a day movie. It was really not the best acting. I don't understand why. I'm not a Hollywood producer, director, creator, whatever. Why they could not get the same actors that played in the video game, or at least take similar people and have them have the same persona as the one in the video game because it was so good. There was a dynamic. There was Ashley, there was Emily, there was Matt, there was Mike, there was Josh, there was Chris. They all had different personality. You had charts for their personality types, and they all vibed off of each other. You know, that's what made the video game cool, because you're like, oh, Emily sucks. Mike is cool. Josh is, trying to understand him. He's more nebulous. Chris is cool. You know, Ashley sucks. Whatever. You were entangled into this drama, and you were like, you had some favorites in the video game. You did not have that with the characters of the movie, because they all sucked. The acting sucked, and so you're like, whatever, man, I don't really care for them. The only cool guy was, I guess the guy was supposed to be like Mike, but even then it made no sense, because he got stabbed by his own girl on the fourth night. What made no sense about the plot is that they said one person must die in order for them to be freed. And then on the fourth night, the main character says, fuck it, I'm gonna go die. And then what happens? The guy who plays Mike says, yeah, go die, because it's your decision, it's your sister, so whatever. We're gonna let you do you, and we're just gonna try to run away. And then he gets backstabbed by a pickaxe by his own girlfriend, and he dies. And then when he dies, he's like, oh, I shouldn't have said this. And then he takes her hand like, what? Bro, your supposed girlfriend tried to kill you, backstab you, literally and figuratively, and you're just gonna grab her hand? Nah, man, that rubbed me the wrong way. You can't do him like that. It's cringe and it's awkward. Nah, man. And then, as well, at the end, what was not cool about the plot is, like I said, they said someone needs to die. But, you know, spoiler alert, at the end, the main character confronts Dr. Hill, and she manages to kill him by making him blow up. And they're just like, aha, this is the person who needed to die. So none of us die, none of us become Wendigos, and we just run away at the last night, which was, you know, cliche. It's a Hollywood, the 13th night, the last night. We're all able to run away by killing Dr. Hill somehow, and not having one person die. At least make it a bit more dramatic. Say, you know, the sister remains here because she wants to remain with her sister, and that's it. They both become Wendigos. I don't know. Make something up. But they both are able to run away. It's like, come on. In the video game, yes, they can all survive, but you gotta go through so many hoops for everyone to survive. You have to go through a perfect tree of decision making for someone to survive. And in this, they're like, nah, you're all gonna survive. Fuck this. You're gonna run away. So I was like, nah, this is cliche and this is cringe. So the plot, you know, it was what it was. The acting was what it was. What else was not the best thing about the movie? Oh, another good thing I would say about the movie was that they had the ambiance was cool, the music was cool, the jump scares were cool, the Wendigos were well made, and they also respected the fact that Wendigos could not see, but they had very good hearing. I will say, big shout out to the person who directed the movie, because there was a scene very similar to the scene in Until Dawn at the end, where I forget the name of the main character, the blonde girl. She's in a corner, and then the Wendigo was just creeping around her. The Wendigo is right there, and she's like, can't move. And you have to hold the controller still. And the same thing happened there, where she was in the dark, and there was a Wendigo right there, and she couldn't move. She had to sit right there and wait. Make not a single sound. You can't make any sound, because the Wendigo will hear you. And then the Wendigo eventually goes away, which was cool. So, you know, overall, the movie was not the best movie, but I will not say that I had, like, my money was wasted, that I didn't have a good time, that the movie was trash. Nothing like that. It's just, I like to stay true to the story and to the theme of what the movie is based on. And if you don't do that, that rubs me the wrong way. But that doesn't mean that the movie itself sucks, because the movie is not just the plot, it's the music, the ambiance, the characters, the CGI, the ending, the beginning, everything. There's these small details that make a movie, and it's not just the plot. So I would say that I enjoyed my time. You know, it was cool to see Wendigos in real life. It was cool to see Dr. Hill. That was very cool, because he played the same way as he played in the video game. It was cool to see the mention of Josh Washington. It was cool to see a bunch of Easter eggs about the video game. But what sucked is that the potential was there, and it was just not completely fulfilled. You know, a bit like Gohan. You listen to Gohan, you say, like, fuck, this guy has so much potential. He has the potential to be the strongest fighter in the world, but he just doesn't reach that potential until he becomes Beast Gohan and prophecy is fulfilled. And there's a video that I made on that as well, so go check it out. So I would say that overall, I give it a 5.8 out of 10, meaning that, you know, it depends how you see a passing grade. I think if a movie is above a 5 or a 5.5, that makes it worthwhile to watch at least. I wouldn't recommend it to other people. I wouldn't say, hey, you gotta watch this, it was an amazing movie, but I'm not gonna say it was a shit movie as well, like you shouldn't watch. I'm gonna say, hey, if you don't watch it, go ahead and watch it. You won't have a bad time, especially if you're not nitpicky like me that watches who wants to respect the video game. So maybe if you don't know the video game, it might suck because you're like, there's so many artifacts and Easter eggs about the video game, so that might actually boost the score for you. But at the same time, if you don't know the story of the video game, you're like, yeah, whatever, I just want a good horror movie, that might also be good for you. So that's why I placed it a 5.8 out of 10, because, you know, it could be good. Like I wouldn't watch it again, but you know, whoever likes a horror thriller, a psychological thriller-ish, and like an open ending kind of stuff, because you see at the end that it was actually that all of this thing and until where they have to survive until dawn in that house with the Wendigo it was all created by her trauma that was undealt with. So, you know, it was kind of cool. So I give it a 5.8 out of 10. But I have to say something before the video ends, guys. I have to say something, and I have to go on a rant, because I do not understand why directors, producers, creators of a movie just don't go with the thing they're basing their movie about. There's a theme that they're basing the movie about. They use the same logo. They try to use the same characters, try to use the same plot, the same lines as the video game or the book they're doing about. And they say, fuck it, I'm just going to do my own thing. Why? There's a $1 billion opportunity where you don't even have to think. The characters are there, the lines is there, the plot is there, the ambiance is there. Everything is there for you to just pour it into a movie and then change a few things, and it makes it great. Look at Game of Thrones. Look at Harry Potter. Look at Lord of the Rings. Look at all these great franchises that just said, we're just going to go with what the book says. We don't have to do anything else. And then look at the other side. Look at The Witcher. Complete utter mockery of the game and of the books. Look at Halo. Look at the Lord of the Rings sequel they made, or whatever TV show they made. Horrible, all of it. Just respect the lore. And you don't have to think it's a free money-making machine. You're just gonna be printing money. So, you know, that's my rant, guys. I just don't understand why they did this. But overall, it was not a bad movie. You could check it out, but don't expect it to be what the video game was about. So that was my review, guys. Don't know. I'm out. Peace.